Hello, welcome to the plot Malaysia. This is our 38th episode. This is the show for the fans.
By the fans.
Haha, we have a very special episode today. But before we move on to the episode itself, I just want to give a mention to our product sponsors. Planet Health. We are actually doing this product called the Mud Pack. It's a good skin product. It's basically with rosemary and green apple. So if you make your purchases on our link below, you stand a chance to win cash prizes up to 1,500 ringgit. So today, guys, we have a very, very special episode. We have guests all the way from the UK and the US. So let's welcome Ray from the UK and Cam from the US. All right.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming to the show. And we understand that you guys are the host for Spurs95 podcast. So all Spurs fan out there, please follow their channel. Do subscribe.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the shout out.
No problem at all. Great channel. Check it out, and I'm sure you're going to love it. Hurry, take it away, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant having Spurs fans in the house today. Like I said, as Ram mentioned, from the UK and from the US. So, guys, listen, we're going to talk about Liverpool and Man United today. No, I'm kidding.
I won't have much to say then. I'll be quiet. Yeah.
I mean, we're going to talk about Spurs. We're going to talk a little bit about the Euros as well, because we're in the midst of the football festival, the Euros.
Yep.
But yeah, lots to talk about Spurs, to be honest. So, Ram, I think why don't we kick things away to talk about Spurs itself?
Definitely. So my question is for both of you all. So, of course, whoever wants to go first, no problem at all. So my first question is, all right, so basically, I want to just find out from you guys, because it's our first time getting to know you as well. How do you guys know each other and for how long?
Well, do you want to take that, Cam? Yeah.
Well, I've known Ray all his life. I'm a bit older than him, so I've known him longer than he's known me, if that makes any sense. Our families were very close friends, distant relatives, and I think our parents moved to the UK from Pakistan more or less at the same time. And so they've known each other and sort of been socializing since the early 60s. But then over the years, we sort of all went our ways as we got older, but we all became Spurs fans, independent actually of each other. Would you agree with that, Ray?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even know you were a Spurs fan. Actually, I'll tell you about my story about becoming a Spurs fan. But Cam,
did you guys just end up sitting next to each other in the stadium? Something like
that. No, I mean, I think what really happened is that I sort of moved back out of England for a long time, and as I was moving out of England, my family went back to Pakistan. Ray's family actually were moving back to England from Pakistan, so we got across for about a week, I think a month. And then we sort of got together, went to university, did your thing, everyone gets married, has kids, etc. And when I moved back to England, after a period of time, I actually moved to Tottenham. So I bought my first house in Tottenham, lived in Tottenham for a while, and Ray's been to the house many times. And over the years, at some stage, ended up living on White Hart Lane. So I could always hear the goals from my backyard. Every time I went out, I could hear them screaming, and I'm thinking, wow, I missed another one. Oh, God.
That must have been some experience, that, yep.
I thought, you know what? This is ridiculous. I'm going to get a season ticket. So I got myself a season ticket. And I'd go with another one of our colleagues on our channel, Steve, where we got 3 tickets so we could take our kids. So that way we insisted we'd take every week, he'd take one of his kids. Next week I'd take my kid to the game. And that way we instilled them to be Spurs fans too. Because if you wanted to go to the game, you had to support the team. So that's how we've been. And since I moved to the US, obviously I had to give up my season ticket. But the one thing I'm sure you have as well is we get to see every single game home and away. They're televised live. So actually I get to see more Spurs here than I would have in England.
Wow. So you live really, really close to the stadium then, like what you were saying. It's pretty much a dream.
5-minute walk. 5-minute walk to the stadium.
Oh my goodness. That is a dream. That's the dream. I wish I was living next to Old Trafford though. Someone must be away. Oh yeah, I live there.
Yeah, that's a good one, yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Ray?
Yeah, sure. So basically I was born in North London. There's a place called Stoke Newington, and that's like, you've got two teams. You're either Arsenal or Tottenham in North London. You've got one or two choices, yeah. And as you guys know, if you've got brothers and sisters, it's normally your brothers and all that tell you. And unfortunately, my brother supported Tottenham, so I had to support Tottenham. It's a shame he didn't support Arsenal, because if he supported Arsenal, I would be a lot happier now, because we'd actually won something and had some success. So yeah, you know,
Actually, I don't totally agree with that. I mean, you might have been a bit happy a few years back. I don't think
no, not anymore. Yeah, you're right. Actually, I'd be equally depressed now. Actually, yes. You're right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I try and get to games whenever I can. I'm not a season ticket holder. I'm on the list to get one, but God knows when that's going to happen. But we support Spurs through thick and thin. You know, we've been starved of success for God knows how long. So anybody who's a Spurs fan now takes kudos for me for actually admitting they're a Spurs fan. So that's good news for me, because, you know, and, you know, we'll get on to Spurs as well. But as you can see, the club's in an absolute mess at the moment. So I'm envious of Liverpool, of what they've done, and also Man United. You know, things like Man United, they won the Europa Cup and Europa League, and it's not a successful season because their standards are so much higher. Whereas if we can win the Carabao Cup, we just dancing forever, you know. So there's a difference, yeah, you see in the two teams there. But yeah, I've been a Tottenham fan through thick and thin, and that's the way it is. But you know, you guys know, once you support a team, you can't just change because another team's doing well. You're with the team, and that's it.
Yep. You support the badge, you know, like they say.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
so...
You support the badge, exactly right. Yeah.
Back the team to thick and thin. I know. I mean, we've had a lot of success recently, of course, and in the past. But I mean, I became a Liverpool fan in the '90s. So I mean, we had nothing in the '90s. We had a bit of flair, the Spice Boys, and that's about it. But yeah, I mean, awesome guys. I mean, I think there's no other place to start. It's great to get an understanding of obviously you guys' backgrounds as well. But I think there's only one place to start. We're in the midst of the Euros, just a couple of days back. Horrific scenes. We watched it live. I watched it live on TV, and I was shivering, to be honest. It was a really traumatic experience. And so we've got to talk about Christian Eriksen. He's a former Spurs player. He spent a good 7 years with you guys. I don't know if you guys caught that match live, if you saw what happened live.
I saw it. I saw exactly happening. I was shivering just like you.
Yeah, we were all the way. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if you're going to share some thoughts about how what you thought about the incident. And also, I think, I mean, we spoke about the European Super League not so long back, and you know and we were against it obviously, but I don't think UEFA come clean in any way out of it in any way as well. I think for a long time I've not agreed with a lot of things that they have done. So I mean, with the fixture pileups that have happened now as well, do you think that has had an impact as well? And you know, and should we now start taking how do I put it? But valuing the players and being more considerate towards the players, really, and the levels of playing time they're having to play across the season?
I'll just go there. I mean, absolutely, Harry. I was watching the match live with you guys as you guys were watching it. I was absolutely shocked. I was fearing the worst when I saw what happened there. Yep. Because I wasn't there, but it happened at Tottenham as well, when Fabrice Moanda collapsed. He had a cardiac arrest, etc. So I was just so shocked, and I didn't know what to say. And obviously, as you know, Christian Eriksen, he gave us 7 great years of service. You know, great player for us, and for it to happen to an ex-Tottenham player was just so mind-numbing, etc. Really, really shocked, and I'm just praying that he could get up. And I was so happy when they said he was getting up and sort of being taken out of the stadium. But going back to your question about do we overload the players, I think that's a very good question actually, and I don't know the answer to it. But these guys are training 3-5 times a week, whatever it is. They're peak athletes. You know, they're tested all the time for their heart condition, their blood pressure, all that stuff is tested. And the way I understand it, Harry, is this thing is just an anomaly. It could happen to anybody, anytime. And it doesn't have any relation to your current state of health. It could just happen to anybody. So I'm not sure if we can ever prevent something like this happening. You know, I just think it's just 1 in a million or 10 million times it could happen. But again, going back to your point, I was absolutely shocked and just praying for the best, really.
Yep, definitely. Hari was also texting me as well, and we were really, really, really shocked. And you know, we are just glad that he's okay right now. Over to you, Cam. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I was at work when I watched the beginning of the game, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get home for the second half, because so I was driving, and I got home, and the whole thing had been called off. So my son texted me and told me what had happened. So it was a bit of a. It took a while to sink in, because I didn't realize, not seeing it live, how I would actually been on the pitch for how long the CPR was taking place, and finding out. But I immediately suspected that it must have been what happened to February to November at Tottenham. So I can definitely remember that. That was a horrific experience too, and it had just more exactly the same similarities.
Were you in the stadium at that time?
I know I had moved to the US by then, but I was watching that game, and it was. I mean, I was totally impressed by the reaction of all the fans at that moment, because they all sort of like, and the game was completely called off, and all the fans totally understood and took, clapped the player off, but he nearly died. I heard that Eriksen's heart stopped as well for a while.
5 minutes,
in that state. And I mean, you just got to hope that, would he ever get back to that fitness? Will he ever be the same player again? Whatever happens in the future is probably the thing. But I do agree with Ray. So it's one of those anomalies that can happen anywhere in any walk of life. And I suppose the only thing you can say is that it happened on the field, and he had all the medics and everybody there to save him. The shocking thing is, it happened in front of the eyes of the world. I mean, how many hundreds of millions of people must have been watching around the planet? And that's just, that's sort of mind blowing when you look at it like that. Someone just go, something happened like that.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to say, guys, is I think it's brought the whole football world together. I mean, I've got Man United fans, Liverpool fans, they've all been texting me saying we're praying for Eriksen, etc. So I think it brings the football family together. I think everybody was just hoping he would get better, which I think is a great thing. Rivalries aside, everybody wants, everybody wants what's best, really.
Exactly. And I think it was one of those moments where it makes you realize that, I mean, we run a football podcast show. Football's everything for us, but it makes you realize that football is just a sport at the end of the day. A lot of things, a lot more important. So whether Eriksen actually gets back to playing, I mean, we hope he gets back to playing, but even if he doesn't, I mean, I think health comes first. He should spend his time with his family. I think that comes at paramount at this point in time. Another quick point I was going to ask, I think the other thing we got to give credit to Ram as well, was the way the Danish players responded. The squad, the Finnish players, the way they responded to the whole incident, and to come out and mean to shield the player firstly, but then to come out and play the second half as well after that incident must have been really difficult. But I think kudos to both sets of players.
I mean, didn't the Danish player sort of perform CPR and save him as well during the whole process before even the medical staff got there? So I mean, that was pretty impressive. He was a hero too, I think, in terms of the way that they reacted. And they did come out and play, which was a shock to everybody, I think. Maybe they should have postponed it a day or so. Did it affect their performance? That's going to be debated for a very long time. Another Spurs fan then went on to miss a penalty. A player, sorry. O.B.A. went on. I was shocked to see him take the penalty in the first place, but I don't know what you think about that. And I know that the goalkeeping error by Schmeichel, he's probably going to put it down to his frame of mind too. So it was two very strange incidents that took place after the Eriksen incident in the game that, who knows what impact that's going to have.
I mean, I heard that Eriksen...
We all definitely...
Yeah, go ahead.
Go, Ram.
Oh, sorry. No, we all praying that he's okay and stuff. But I've heard rumors. I just received like a forwarded message. That said that the doctors said that he may not be able to play professionally anymore. Those are rumors. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I came to know. Yeah. Back to you, Ray.
No, all I was saying was that I heard that Eriksen sent a message to the guys saying that I want you to play, carry on and play. That's why they went ahead. Otherwise, they weren't going to play. That's what I heard anyway. And I also heard the same thing that if you've got this irregular heartbeat or whatever it is, he had a cardiac arrest, not a heart attack, which is different. So I think you're right. That's probably better if he doesn't play again.
Yep, definitely.
That happened to Mamba too. He never played again, did he?
Yeah, no. He stopped after what happened as well. And moving on with that as well. With the Euros coming in now, of course. So my next question is about the Euros. So the Euros so far, I'm sure both of you would have been impressed with England's performance on Sunday. I'm sure you guys were. And of course, also based on the past few days that the Euro has been going on, okay? Any standout teams or players that you are looking out for? Maybe a possible new addition to the Spurs team for you guys?
I was very happy with the England performance. For the first 30 minutes, they were great. Really pressing up and doing good stuff. I'm not sure I agree with the team, but, I would have played Grealish instead of Sterling because I think he can unlock those defenses, etc. But then it was really hot in London that day, and then they tailed off a bit, and then Croatia came back more into it. But let's put everything into context. Croatia are not one of the top teams in Europe. They've got an aging team. Modric is still their top player. You know, if England can do something like that against France or some of these big teams, then yeah, I will say that. But in terms of standout teams, I was really impressed with Italy. I wasn't expecting a lot from Italy, but they really pressed hard. But again, who did they beat? You know, it's Turkey. Turkey didn't turn up really, did they? I don't think. And obviously Belgium, you know, this is a golden generation for Belgium. If they don't win anything now, they're never going to win anything. So, you know, Italy and Belgium, I thought were good. I really was impressed with those guys. But, you know, I see other teams are slow starters. You know, we'll see what happens. In terms of players that we like, you know, I thought that Spinazzola, the left wing back for Italy, was excellent.
Yeah.
He's a great player, isn't he?
Yep.
If there's any way Paolo Fonseca can nab him from Roma, I'll be very, very happy.
with his old Roma connections.
Yeah. The only problem now is Jose is there, and he's not going to let us take anybody. Isn't he? He's going to spite Daniel Levy, so you can't have anybody now.
Anyone caught your eye so far, Cam, on the player side or on the teams?
I mean, obviously, being from England myself, living in the US, but being from England myself, I'm supporting England, and I was super impressed by what the BBC are calling the Yorkshire Perlo.
Kevin Phillips. Oh, yes.
Calvin Phillips. Wow.
In midfield, and I think he blew everybody's mind with his performance. And I think one of the things that you do see specifically sometimes from the England team is that level of passion and commitment that always sometimes seems to be lacking. But this guy had it all. I mean, he was everywhere. He was all over the field. His performance was outstanding. And for me, I think if he carries on like that, he's undroppable. My biggest issue was with Harry Kane. I thought Harry Kane was awful, absolutely dreadful in that game. And we were worried as Spurs fans that towards the back end of the season, maybe his head had been moved and his performances were drifting. But maybe he's been overplayed. Maybe he isn't recovering from injury. And England need to think about that. Was it the right performance? If he wasn't at 100% peak performance to put him in the team, we'll never know. But again, you know, I don't think Southgate takes enough risks to win this tournament, because we haven't seen Spain play. We haven't seen Portugal play. We haven't seen France play.
Germany.
Let's face it, those are Germany play. Well, absolutely right, Harry. Four of the top teams that if you don't beat them, you're in trouble. Now, in the England performance, I think in the first 20 minutes should have been 3-0 up. We weren't, and then we hung on for a 1-0. First game, Ray's right. You've got to, you know, it's all very tentative, and you've got to beat Croatia. If you don't beat Croatia, you can say goodbye to everything else, because you know you can't beat Croatia. You're not going to be beating France. You're not going to be beating. You're even going to be beating Austria, who. Talking about players that would like to nab, I thought Sabitzer had a fantastic game.
Cracking little player. Sabitzer,
against Macedonia, it might be. Problem is, Harry and Ram, is that any Spurs target that has a cracking game like Sabitzer suddenly realise they could probably go to a better club than Spurs. And probably Man United and Liverpool might come in for them. So him playing that well probably means we've just lost him.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that we actually have a habit of taking good players and turning them into very bad players. So we take a good player and we turn them into really bad players. But I was going to ask you, Harry, I know it's your show, but can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
So you guys mentioned Calvin Phillips. What about Calvin Phillips for Liverpool or Man United? Would you guys like him in your team? As maybe a Henderson replacement or instead of McTominay?
I would have definitely taken him in replacement of Fred.
Yes, sorry, I meant Fred, yes.
You know, anytime. Because, you know, on Sunday's game, of course, you know, when we're watching it, because Calvin Phillips is famous for, you know, a bit of a defensive position, you know, in central of defense. But on Sunday, he took on that, attacking role, you know, so it showed me that he was versatile. And of course, Gareth Southgate took a little bit of a gamble, which was good to see. But I agree with Cam as well. I think he needs to put on more risk, going on the next games coming forward as well, trying to score more goals. I think they need to play more attractive football, to make all the fans believe that they have a stelling chance, of actually getting the cup. So yeah, Kevin Phillips for sure.
For me, before yesterday, I would have said no, because we've got a strong midfield. We've got a good mix, and not just that, he plays in a defensive role where we've got Henderson, we've got Fabinho, who's probably one of the best in the business in that position. But having seen him play that role yesterday, a bit more advanced, we've just lost Gini Wijnaldum, who's gone on a free to PSG. he could be a replacement for him.
Yeah,
because he plays the box-to-box role, and he seemed like he could do that yesterday. So he's strong. He's got a good range of passing as well. So yeah, I was impressed with him, and he could be a good shout. But again, I don't know if Leeds are going to let go of him and Bielsa will let go of him, because he's a key component of Bielsa's team, I think.
It's okay, Harry. Just stick to your Thiago Alcantara, and we will take Calvin Phillips. Done. Finish.
One just thing I wanted to add was that doesn't it show that someone like Calvin Phillips, who developed under Bielsa, what a good manager Bielsa is.
Oh, he's outstanding.
Yep,
Absolutely outstanding. I just saw a piece of news the other day, and I think speaks about the character of the man. I think it was a summer break. It's a summer break now, but he went for, I think it was the under 15 Leeds team, under 12 Leeds team, and he went to take a session with them just to impart some of his knowledge with that team. And I was like, I don't know, fair play to him. He's just such a football man, Bielsa. He wants to see people improve, players improve. So I think that was, fair play. I think he's a brilliant manager. But carrying on with the Euros team very quickly, I just wanted to add to what you guys said as well. I was very impressed with Italy. I thought they were outstanding, very different, very refreshing to see an Italian team on the front foot. It's normally a team that plays defensively. I know it was only against Turkey, but it was front foot football, very attacking, a real pressing game. So they were impressive. I thought the Dutch were impressive yesterday, actually, even though they almost blew it. But I thought they were really impressive going forward as well. The Belgians, I'm not saying too much about them, because I thought they played a very poor Russian side who gave them 2 goals pretty much on a plate. So, but a couple of teams have stood out, and I think none more so than the Italians.
What about the Swiss? I think the Swiss stood out as well. Just sad that the game was 1-1, but I think they played really well as well. I think Italians go up first, up tops, because I think I was quite impressed by their game as well. But I think the Swiss comes in that line as well. I think if they do carry on the way they are playing it, the way they did in the opening game, I think they could also have a good chance of going to the next round. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Switzerland were pretty good, but I'm hoping Gareth Bale is going to pull out the magic for Wales, and they're going to do well.
Great shout out. Very quickly, we're talking about Spurs and players that you look for. Keep a watch on Breel Ambolo from Switzerland. I thought he was outstanding.
He seems like a really good player, really good hold-up player, a lot of strength, young guy, really good. I've seen Breel Ambolo before, and who does he play for now?
I think he plays
in Mönchengladbach.
Mönchengladbach, is it? Okay, yeah.
Yep. He's pretty good. He reminds me of Romelu Lukaku,
he does.
What Harry said, but he's more stronger, more physique, and I think he's quicker as well. Yeah, good player.
Good player, yeah. So who's your guys' tips for the Euros then? Who do you think is going to win it?
Harry, go first.
I'm a neutral of the Euros, actually. I don't support any international team.
No, but who do you think is going to win it, Harry?
Oh, if I've got to go with a team who I think will win it. France are hot favorites, isn't it? But I'm actually going with the Italians.
Yep.
I think the Italians might win it. They've gone unbeaten for 28, 29 games, keep clean sheets for fun. The other day, they beat the Turkish side 3-0, played really well, and they were missing one of their best players, Verratti.
Yeah.
Going to come back into the team as well. So, I don't know. They look a really good outfit. So I'm backing the Italians. And the French would probably be the outstanding favorites, but then again, there's some rumors of some infighting now with Mbappe and Giroud, and you don't know how that's going to affect things. And they've got a history of that, isn't it? Infighting within the camp. So just don't know how it's going to work out. Yeah.
For me, I think yes. I would love England to win the Euros, because I'm an England fan, guys. I've been following England for so many years, since the Beckham days. Of course, I do really want them to win. But if I'm going to be, really honest about it, who I think could possibly have one-handed trophy, I think I would definitely go for the Italians as well, because they're just outstanding. But if I could pick another team, I think Belgium could possibly win it this time as well.
What about you guys?
I'll go on that one. I think I'm hoping that Belgium can win it. I think they deserve to win it. They played really well. I agree with you, Harry. They were given some goals, but they didn't have De Bruyne. They didn't have Hazard.
Good point, yep.
They've got a lot of strength to come back. These guys, when they're firing on all cylinders, they're a match for everybody. So I'm going to go with Belgium.
My view is that I think I was actually disappointed with Italy. I hear what you say. I thought Turkey was so bad that a true reflective score would have been like 10-0.
Yeah.
And I think that 3-0 was actually flattering to Turkey. I thought for that Turkey, that was a good game, only to concede 3. I haven't seen a worse performance yet, and I don't think we will. And then think about Italy. I think it's about longevity, the ability to keep going when the game starts, the real game start, the real game start. And that is when teams like Spain and Germany really come to their own. They start slowly, they flatter to everyone thinks, it's not their year, they're useless. And then they get to the knockout stage, they grind out that 1-0, 2-0 or whatever. And then before you know it, bang, they're in the final, and then before you know it, they've suddenly won it. And you never can discount them. I don't want either of them to win. I would go with Ray and say, well, actually, I want England to win, but I mean...
But I want England to win as well, but I think...
Judging by how things are going, I mean, I'm going to hedge my bets there. But if it wasn't England, then I'd like to see Belgium do well. But they're a good team of fantastic individuals. But are they a really good, solid team? I mean, they are fantastic individual players. When it comes to the crunch, have they got it? I don't know.
I feel at this level, when you're talking about a lot of these top teams, it's the small details that make the difference. And I'm just not convinced with Roberto Martinez as a manager. That's the thing for me. And it's the same for me with England. They've got all the quality, but I'm not convinced with Gareth Southgate as a manager. And for me, leaving out Sancho from the squad altogether and then not playing a left back when you've got two great left backs, not going with a left back just to go with a favorite of yours in Trippier. I thought, that didn't give me the right signs about Southgate as well. So I think that's small, and which is why I think the Italians are good this time around, because I think Mancini is a good manager. He's a very good manager in knockout football. I think in maybe not in a league format, but knockout football, one-off games like that, I think he's quite a good manager, tactical manager. So probably that's the reason why I'd go there. Although you can't discount the Portuguese. I think if they get out of their group, which is a group of death, with the generation they have now, I think it's a golden generation as well. They could be a bit of a threat. Yeah.
The main reason why Belgium haven't won anything is because of Roberto Martinez. If Pep Guardiola or somebody else was managing that team, these guys would be winning all the tournaments. Martinez is the reason. I totally agree with you, Harry, there.
I think that the reason why Ray wants Belgium to win is because if Martinez does pull off a win against and wins the Euro, then he won't come to Tottenham, and that's a very good incentive to want him to win. It's the last manager we won.
I mean, since we went off we started off on Spurs again. We went down the Spurs lane again. We've got to talk about Spurs now, guys. Since we have you guys on, we've got to talk about Spurs. Lots of Spurs developments as well. So I think this summer is all about Spurs, if you ask me, in the league, because you're not only getting a new manager, you're getting a new director of football. It seems you've got a new director of football. You might lose your top talisman and your captain as well. So I think there's only one place to start. Let's start with the appointment of the director of football. I think it's Fabio. Is it Fabio Paratici, who was formerly of Juventus and known for bringing in a lot of free transfers during his time at Juventus. What are your thoughts on him and of his appointment, basically?
Wow. Ray, do you want to take that first, or me?
Yeah, sure. No, I'm happy to take it. So, going back to your question, Harry, I think it's a great appointment to have a director of football. Paratici seems to be a decent candidate. We had a really good director of football, a guy called Paul Mitchell, who brought in a lot of good players. He's working with Poch, and then he couldn't work with Daniel Levy. Not many people can, so he left. And so we haven't had a director of football for a long time, I don't think, although Steve Hitchen is not really a director of football. So going back to your question, director of football, great thing. If it means that Levy doesn't get involved with anything to do with football, then I'm happy. If it means that Levy's still pulling the shots, but just doing it through somebody else, then it doesn't make any difference. It's a waste of time.
I'm going to disagree with Ray, on this. I think that if you want a strong manager who you're going to put some faith in, then you've got to give them the director of football abilities as well, in terms of deciding who comes in or whatever, and have a great scouting team behind him. But when you take that away from a manager, then we're looking for something different, which is just a coach. And we did that with Pochettino when he actually came on. You might remember in an interview and said, "I'm not the manager, I'm just a coach," because he was basically airing the frustration that a lot of the transfer decisions were taken away from him, and his ability to mold the team how he wanted to was leading to severe frustration, and we all know where that ended up. I think that he probably gave that role to Mourinho, gave him that big manager's role, but Mourinho brought in players that, less said about that, the better. But it's tough. I mean, I hear what Ray's saying, and I think that if our manager or coach is going to be Carlos Fonseca, then we do need a director of football, because frankly, I personally don't trust him to be able to bring the talent that we need in. But if we're going to get somebody, a stronger manager, we mentioned someone like Bielsa, not that he's coming here, but can you see him working with a director of football? Probably not. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to talk about Man United, so I don't want to offend you, but I mean, a weak manager like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer probably does need a director of football, with all due respect to him. But would Jurgen Klopp put up with that? I doubt it. That's my view on Paratici.
Everything's relative, guys. I mean, because Daniel Levy is such an abysmal football person. He knows he's an accountant by trade. So he knows about business and all that. Perfect. Knows nothing about football. He's made so many mistakes, too many to go through on this show. I mean, he's had a man crush on Mourinho for like 15 years. He wanted to hire Mourinho when he left Porto, he couldn't do it. And now he had the chance, he just fired Poch and hired Mourinho, and it's been wrong. So Levy is the source of all the problems, unfortunately, bad decision making.
Yeah. Oh, I can see a shadow, like how the Glazers are in United. It's totally insane the way they're managing the team and so on and so forth. So I get what you feel. I get how you feel, Ray. Definitely wish things could be better as well, for sure.
Ram, one thing I would say is that, sorry, Harry, one thing I would say, Ram, is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know United that well, but are they supporting Solskjaer with funds to buy players, etc.? Levy doesn't even support him. Poch needed just a slight rebuild, some money, and we could have potentially won the league, and Levy wouldn't have it. Sorry.
I think you're absolutely right, Ray. It's just that with all this ESL commotion that took place, and with the Glazers having no choice but to come to the fans, attend fans forum, he has to show the fans that, hey, you know what? I am with Solskjaer. I'm going to support him and so on. Had the ESL not go through or never even started, I don't think that Solskjaer would have gotten the backing that he needed. So I think it's all just a show. But end of the day, I think that works for Solskjaer. I guess he's going to get the money to spend on players. So I think we can just focus on the football in that part. But in the long term, I want the Glazers out, definitely.
No, I understand that.
I was gonna say, I think you're spot on there, I think, Ray, as well. I mean, my thinking is a bit similar. It's well and good bringing in a director of football, someone with the pedigree of Paratici, but it all depends on his remit at the end of the day. You give him a title of director of football, but if Daniel Levy is dictating to him what he can spend, who he can't sign, who he can sign as well, then it really, you're just getting another conflict basically within the organization. I mean, Levy is prone to having the conflicts with managers, for example. You're just adding another layer to that and making things worse at the end of the day. So I think it really boils down to what that remit is that director of football is going to be given, and the license is going to be given to follow through.
I've just got, sorry, can I ask one quick question for Ram, but I'm going to relate it to Liverpool. So
Go ahead.
When Brendan Rodgers was the manager of Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp became available, yeah? So Liverpool, they saw a world-class manager available. They fired Brendan Rodgers and got Jurgen Klopp, and look at the difference it's made. The question to you, Ram, is Antonio Conte is the best manager in the world at the moment. He's won 5 titles in 7 years. Do you think United should sack Solskjaer and appoint Conte?
Well, personally, for me, I think, of course, there were these discussions before, about who should replace Solskjaer and so on and so forth. But I think, having seen the improvements that took place for United from last season and then into this season, I'm still sticking. I still want to stick with Solskjaer, and I hope that they give him a couple more years more to go and to see what he can do, and then later on probably see how. Yeah, that's
my thinking of that on that. I mean, I'm a rival, of course, big rival. So.
He's happy. But I'm
going to be unbiased here with my view. The Glazers will never hire Conte. Conte is a very confrontational manager, and his history speaks for himself. He wants things his way. He needs money to spend, and the Glazers don't want that. They want a yes man, which is why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is absolutely spot on for that. For those owners and yeah. So I think they will never hire Conte, and I think it's the exact reason why Tottenham didn't get him in the end of the day. At the end of the day as well, because. I think he wanted some terms or some things his way, and Levy wasn't agreeing to that. So yeah,
that was just a smokescreen, Harry. We were never going to hire Antonio Conte. That was only done to make the fans renew their season tickets. There was never any way we were going to get.
Well, moving on, we've spoken about Paratici. What do you guys think about Fonseca? Is he? I think I just heard some news before I got on today, but is he confirmed?
Not that I've heard. It's early morning here in Florida, so I haven't actually heard that. But I want
very
to start
close, I think.
I think
this
once
is
it's
another
announced on the
area.
website, then it's confirmed. Sorry.
Yeah. Another area we might disagree on, which I know you like a bit of controversy here. But for me, I think Fonseca is really a statement of intent for Tottenham. And the intent is we don't intend to win the title or go for it. The intent is we don't want to win the FA Cup. The intent is we might want to win the European Conference Cup, whatever the hell it's such. And we're going to compete all out for the Carabao Cup. The rest of it, you can have it. And that is a problem for me because I want my team to compete for everything. But let's face it, title's over. FA Cup, no chance. Champions League, no. We're all we're looking for is to try and bring something in, which is, if we don't get a cup made of silver, maybe someone will start a competition made out of plastic so we can finally win something. Because as things are going right now, someone's just going to have to put some tin foil around a piece of plastic and hand it to Tottenham.
No, we have won the Audi Cup last year.
We have won the Audi
Cup.
Because it's a statement of intent, isn't it? I mean, and I don't see no intent. I mean, obviously, if Fonseca can move us to the Ukraine, then we might win something because that's where he's won everything so far. But that's not going to happen. So our intent for me shows that this is a statement from Tottenham with another few seasons in the doldrums going nowhere. What
about you, Ray? Because I mean, from what we've heard, he's the chosen man for Paratici. So Paratici is the one who's been vouching for him. He's the one who's wanted him. You share the same thoughts with Cam on the quality of manager or the show of intent?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point, Harry, because what we heard here was that Paratici wanted Conte. So now he's going down the list. So he couldn't get Conte. Now he's gone to Fonseca. I mean, and Cam's absolutely right. It's a statement to say we're not really going to do anything. We just want to bumble along. Bring in a high caliber manager who's used to winning stuff. It is the key, really, to winning stuff. And then you can show intent. When there was the potential that we could sign Conte, guys, the biggest, who were the people who were worried the most? Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans.
Yep.
United fans saying, God, if you get Conte, you guys are really going to be in a position to challenge. As soon as that was blown out of the water, they said, well, we're happy. Tottenham are back to where they are, which is nowhere really. Cam's right. We're hoping he's going to be another Pochettino, but without any money or any support or any funds. I reckon, what do you reckon, Cam? Maybe 12 to 18 months he'll be fired or gone. That's what I think. He won't last too long. And then also Levy can get him on the cheap. It's only getting him for €2 million a year or something, which is nothing.
The one silver lining for us is how much more will the ownership backing Levy put up with this? And maybe this is one manager too many, and maybe it might be the end of Levy too, but I doubt it. But Ray's absolutely right. 18 months. But, I'd love, as a Spurs fan, I'd love to be proven completely wrong. I'd like you to call me back on the show next year once we won the Premier League, the FA Cup, and done the triple or the quadruple or whatever, and say, you know what you said last season, how wrong you were, and I'd be very happy to eat whatever hat I have on my table or whatever. I'd be proven wrong, but I just can't see it.
I can see one silver lining after Mourinho. At least with Fonseca, at least from what I've seen, he's an attacking manager. So maybe he'll bring the Spurs way back.
Yeah, maybe. You guys saying that with a bit of sarcasm there, Harry, I can notice it. The Spurs way is playing well and losing all the time.
Yeah. So we'll score 3 and concede 5 because of that back line that he's got now. I mean.
But have you guys heard the story about Fonseca? He didn't understand the rules in the Italian Coppa, the Italian Cup, and he put too many substitutes on, so Roma got disqualified from the tournament.
Never heard of that. Oh my God!
He was only allowed 5 subs, but somehow he got 6 subs on.
Oh no!
And then they got disqualified from the Italian Cup. So it's not a good sign, is it? Really, when he doesn't understand the rules of the cup.
Oh man, that's a very shame. It's very shameful.
I was going to ask one thing though. I put yourself in Daniel Levy's situation with Spurs finishing 7th? Was it 7th?
Yeah,
7th
in the Europa Conference League. Potentially your talisman leaving the club or wanting to leave the club. Which manager realistically or top manager would have wanted the job? So who do you guys think you would have wanted to take the job, or you think realistically could have taken that job?
That's an excellent question, actually. That's a really good question. And I think it's a very valid question because we're not a top club. We can't attract the top manager. So Nagelsmann was never going to come to us.
Yep.
Ten Hag, I don't rate him anyway. I'll give you a manager who you might be a bit surprised, but I think Graham Potter would have done a really good job. He plays a really good brand of football. He would have come to Tottenham. He would have improved us. He knows the Premier League, how it works, etc. But you're absolutely right, Harry. We can't attract the top managers. Mourinho came because he wanted the money, really. I don't think he's the top manager anymore.
I threw a name once, I thought Nuno Espirito Santo would have been a good candidate, to actually take on the Spurs job, but I think he's going to Everton now, is it? Right?
Yeah, he's going to Everton now. Yeah, I think.
I think we tried that Portuguese experiment. It didn't get us anywhere. So, because Nuno's very much in the style of Mourinho, the way that they play football is really not suited to the players that we have. I mean, you've got to look at what we've got. The biggest reason why we aren't signing a top manager is because they go down that roster and they look at this and think he wants me to get the best out of this lot. Forget it. I mean, we're not a miracle worker either. There's only so much you can do. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the biggest example there is Brendan Rodgers, because I think he wanted Brendan Rodgers. But if you're Brendan Rodgers, why would you leave Leicester City right now to move to Spurs? So
won the FA Cup, Yeah.
I almost think as if Fonseca is the best alternative you could think of, maybe to take on the job.
Probably better managers.
I would have even taken Hodgson over Fonseca.
Cam wanted Sam Allardyce. I would have taken Allardyce over Fonseca.
Because for me, what we're looking at is a team in serious transition, and we need somebody. Those guys could come in for a year, hold the fort whilst we build up some reserves and revenue, and see where we go from there. But I mean, if you were going to take a chance on someone, why not take a chance on a young English manager like Eddie Howe or Scott
Graham
Parker?
Potter.
That's a good shout. Eddie Howe and Potter, great shout.
Take up hell with it, and get the fans behind you and say, look, you know what? I'm bringing somebody in who's not tried and tested. We're going to give them a chance. We're going to build from the bottom up rather than pretend we're a top team and ignore reality, which is that right now we're not, and try and build something that we can all get behind. And it might mean one season that we're at 8, 9 to 10, but we can see progress. We can see better football being played. We can see potential coming forward. I mean, when Klopp went to Liverpool, what was at the end of the first season? Where were they? 9th, 10th, something like that.
7th or 8th, I think we were. Yeah.
8th, yeah. But they could see something being built, and now where are they? So that's what we want. We want to see something like that. And frankly, I don't see that with Fonseca. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, just to go back on your point, guys, I mean, the biggest problem is Daniel Levy. And it's not because I'm an Enoch out or Daniel Levy hater, but what we say in England, the data never lies. So he's won one thing in 20 years. He's had about 14 managers. The only constant across all of that time period is Daniel Levy. And going back to Harry's question of who would come, a lot of people don't want to deal with that guy.
Yep.
They don't want to work with him.
Yep.
So that's another problem we got. Not only that we're really bad club, rubbish, but we got the chairman is somebody that people don't want to work with. We've got too many barriers for people coming and attracting good players. And I like what Liverpool did. They lost the Champions League. They went out and bought Alisson and Van Dijk, and look at them now. We don't have that leadership.
On that note, about Daniel Levy and who would want to work with him, there could be a silver lining to that in my next question. We can't end the show without talking about Harry Kane and his situation. So maybe it could be a bonus here if no club wants to deal with Daniel Levy and you keep the man. So realistically, guys, what do you guys think is going to happen with Harry Kane? Is he going to move? Is he going to stay? And also, if he moves, it's a double question here, but who do you guys want to replace him?
Well, I would answer your first question. Is he going to stay or is he going to leave? I think he's going to leave, definitely. There was a slight chance if Antonio Conte had come in, proven winner, that Kane could have said, look, this guy's a winner, maybe I'll give it one more year. But with Fonseca, I don't think he's even heard of Paolo Fonseca, so he's not going to be staying. And in terms, was your second question, who do I want as a replacement, or where do you think he's going to go? Or?
Actually, both. So where he's going to go,
yeah, sure.
and where do you think he's going to? Who do you think he's going to replace? Who would you want to replace him? Yep.
Yeah, sure. Well, he's irreplaceable, but where he's going to go, I think either Rams team or Man City. I think
City.
He can't go to Chelsea because Daniel Levy would be lynched if they sold him to Chelsea. So Man United or Man City, I think, is where he's going to go, Harry. And who do you want to replace him? very difficult. This guy is one of the top strikers in the world. I would go for somebody like, and nobody can replace him. But if you had to get somebody like Patson Daka, or maybe Danny Ings, one of these guys. But
Calvert-Lewin, same height, maybe? No?
Calvert-Lewin's not leaving Everton, guys, never.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's irreplaceable. But, you know, maybe Mo Salah. I don't know. What do you think, Harry?
No.
Ray, I would be more than happy to say, take Martial. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know you would. I know you'd be glad to get
ship has sailed. That ship has sailed.
Wait, what do you think, Cam? Do you think he's going to stay?
Well, my
he's
point of view is, I think again, I'm sort of ambivalent about this. Two things. One is we've got 3 years on a contract. Levy is a very difficult man to negotiate. He knows that he's got a whole 12 months to play with. If he sells him this year or sells him next year, he's still going to get top dollar. So the ball's really in Tottenham's court. We hold all the cards. They can huff and puff however much he wants, but a 3-year contract is still a 3-year contract. If it was on year 2's contract, then you start thinking, it's running down, how much money we're going to get, whatever. So, and there's also the big issue that haunts Tottenham fans, and that is the selling of Bale. We sold Bale, got our 90 million or whatever we did, and then blew it. We bought one player that was worthwhile, which was Christian Eriksen.
Yeah.
We only paid 12 million for. The rest of the money was just thrown out like a kid in a candy store who ate it and vomited outside because we got absolutely nothing for it. And it scares the life out of me that they'll take that and do exactly the same. Would you, Ray, want to hand 150 million to Fonseca to blow? I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. So for me, keep Kane, because we got no choice, because we don't know how to spend money. We don't know how to bring in players until we can get somebody who knows what they're doing. And maybe this is what why Patrici's Paratici's been brought in, because he might know how to do it. And who can we replace him with? I mean, that's the hardest question of all. Maybe we can bring Lewandowski in for the last few years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good shout.
We could pay him 400 or 500.
Cam, I was just about to say that. And I think I think my theory behind the appointment of Paratici is precisely that, because I think they know they're going to sell Harry Kane, and they want someone there who's got a history or a track record of spending money. Because obviously they blew the money from Bale. And you spoke about Liverpool and what we did, bringing in Alisson, Van Dijk, Fabinho to win the Champions League. The only reason we were able to do that was because we sold Coutinho for a hell of a lot of money, but we spent it well. So I think maybe that's the theory behind it. Maybe that's why they brought Paratici in, because he seems like he's got knowledge of the market, and he may be the right man to spend the money.
Well, guys, one thing I want to say, something that Cam said, which I disagree with. He's saying that he's there for 3 years, he can't go anywhere. That's not true. He can put in the transfer request. He can say, I want to leave the club. All right, he's going to maybe forsake some money, but then the other team that's buying him will just replenish that money. He can put a transfer request and says he wants to leave. That's a statement of intent. And no club is going to keep a player that doesn't want to be at that club, because they're not going to perform, and they're going to be a bad vibe in the dressing room and all that. So there are ways for him to get out of that club, even if Levy doesn't want to sell him.
Yep.
I think if you get anywhere close to the numbers being talked about, 120, 150 million pounds, in my opinion, if the guy really wants to go, if you have the right person to spend it, and you spend it in the right way, you can actually strengthen your team. We've seen it at Liverpool. You can actually strengthen the overall team. You talk about the defense, for example, with Spurs, but it's a question of whether you have the right person to do the job. Yep.
Not a single Spurs fan would begrudge him anything, Harry, about leaving. They know how much he's done for Tottenham. He's going to leave with everybody's good wishes. Not one single Spurs fan. Every Spurs fan I've spoken to should say he should just go. He shouldn't waste his time with us anymore, because we're losers. So, and if he does go to United, if he goes to United, United are going to be serious title contenders next year. If he goes to City, you could just forget about the title already.
I think he's going to City for sure. Have
you got any intel on that, Ram?
Not to say concrete, but the way I look at it, because City has the money, they have the money to spend, they can afford his salary. United, I don't think would be able to afford his salary that he's asking for. So I think he will go to City for sure.
And City have that gaping hole, isn't it, in the striking department? They need to fill that with Aguero gone. So I think it's only between two players. It's either Erling Haaland, or they spend the money on Harry Kane. So I think
they might go for Haaland, and then Kane could go to United.
He's younger. Yep. Look, can I just say, for me, the ideal transfers for Tottenham would be as follows: Eric Dyer to Manchester United, and Davinson Sanchez to Liverpool. You can put them in your team. And
you can have Serge Aurier as well, a right back.
We use that money to buy somebody who can defend and watch your team crumble and fall to pieces. It'd be fantastic.
Wasn't Eric Dyer and Davinson Sanchez, both of them, the next coming of Paolo Maldini and Alessandro Nesta at some point?
That's why you should take them.
Yeah, that's why we want him to go to Liverpool.
Guys, just to end on the Spurs topic, there's only one player I would want from Spurs actually, and it's not Harry Kane. Surprisingly, I mean he's a brilliant striker, but for the way we play, the one guy I want from Spurs is Son Heung-min.
Yeah,
I think he would really be brilliant for Liverpool. He's brilliant at the pressing game. He can play the false nine. He can play anywhere across the front three. Can be the alternative to Roberto Firmino as well. I mean, he's the guy.
You could get your wish if Kane goes. I can't see Son signing a new contract, so you may get your wish.
But again, if Kane goes, I don't think they let Son go.
Well, again, he's running his contract down. He's only got 2 years left. Next year, he'll have a year. He can start talking to people, so they might want to get some money for him.
Possible, Harry, possible.
We're going to see how this all pans out after the Euros.
Yeah, nothing's going to happen until after the Euros now, I think.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Awesome. It's been great talking Spurs with you guys. I think both myself and Ram, we want you guys to tell us a little bit, tell the viewers a little bit about your channel as well.
About yourself,
about the channel itself and what made you guys start it and what do you guys do?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you guys for inviting us. We've had a great time, and hopefully we can reciprocate. You can come on our channel as well and talk to our viewers, etc. We run a small channel called Spurs9501. Let me ask a question, Harry. Do you know what the significance of 9501 is?
No, actually, I don't.
What about you, Ram?
I mean, I saw it. It looked really, really, it was a very unique name, but I have really no idea, Siri. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so basically, if you say 9501 to any Tottenham fan, they know that's the time that Lucas Moura scored the third goal in the Champions League semi-final.
Okay. Wow. And that's quite interesting. I like the way you came up with that. It's interesting. Very nice.
Spurs 9501 is based on Lucas. That's the only thing we got to celebrate, guys. We're never going to win it. We scored a goal to get into the final. So we've got a small channel, Spurs fans talking post-match analysis, trying to interview fans that are interested in Tottenham, giving a voice. So we've got fans from Argentina, Malaysia, Singapore, USA, all these places. We give Spurs fans around the world a voice so they can give their opinion on what's happening at the club. And just a general, we do it as a hobby because we love the club and basically like you guys, but not as professional as you guys, but just like what you guys are doing. So anybody who's interested, any Spurs fans watching this, please come over to our channel. And we want to extend the invite. I'll arrange with Ram and Harry for you guys to come on our channel. And please, we'd love you to talk to our fans about what you're doing and talk about your passion as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much. But we really love you guys both on the show as well. We really had a good time.
It's been fantastic. It's been fantastic getting the insights from you guys. It's been a good laugh as well.
Yeah, no, we've had a great laugh actually.
And yeah, guys, I mean, Spurs fans out there. I mean, lots of Spurs fans in Malaysia. I know in the region as well. Hit the guys up. Subscribe to their channel. They've got some fantastic content on Spurs. And yeah, we'll definitely want to take up that offer. We'd love to join you guys at some point as well on your show.
Great stuff. Really good.
I mean, during the Euros, we are following England as well, doing pre and post-match analysis. So if you're interested in England and how they're doing, then please tune in as well to our channel.
And definitely, you'll see me tuning in for that for sure, because I'm an England fan as well. So you'll see me watching your episodes as well for sure, definitely.
You guys asked me a question the early part of the show, and I said, who do you think I thought would win the Euros? And I said, I mean, realistically, with my head, I mean, it's Italy, for example, one of the teams I probably think will win it. But with my heart, who I want to win it is Scotland. I've always been a big Braveheart fan. Andy Robertson is captain of that team. They're back in the major tournament after a long time. So yeah, I mean, long shot, probably not going to win it. But I think if they beat England, they might celebrate like they won that tournament.
Yeah, that would be winning it. Beat England, that would be winning it.
They've got one of the better teams they've had in a long time. So, nothing's impossible in football.
The problem is they've got two brilliant left backs. And you can...
That's it.
They got Andy Robertson's a captain, isn't he? He's a great player.
Captain.
I mean, he's amazing. He is really an amazing player.
And they have Scott McTominay as well.
McTominay,
yeah, that's right.
So you guys are covered then, really.
Well, I have to say, Ray and Cam, it's been absolute pleasure having you on the show on the Plot Malaysia. We love what you're doing, for Spurs fans out there. We will definitely, be putting your links on our description as well, so that, a
Thank you
lot
very
of
much.
Spurs fan who is watching our show could possibly also subscribe to your channel. So to all the Spurs fans in Malaysia and of course all over the world, if you're watching this episode, please follow their channel, Spurs9501. Now we know what it stands for. It's even more exciting to follow them as well. And these two are really great people as well. I wish you both all the best in what you do. Definitely inspiration to all the Spurs fans and all football fans as well. Enjoy the Euros, and we look forward in the future to have more episodes with you guys, to have a preview match in the Premier League season and so on and so forth. We
No,
really
that'd be
look forward to
amazing.
that as well.
That would be
Definitely.
amazing. Thank you again. It's great. Thank you so much.
Definitely for
Thank
sure.
you. Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Cam. So signing off from the Plot, guys. But before we go, I just want to make announcement from our product sponsors once again. Planet Health. This is the mud bag. It's a very good facial cream. If you make your purchases down in our description, you stand a chance to win cash prizes up to 1,500 ringgit. So signing off from the Plot, guys. This is the show for the fans.
By the fans. Cheers, guys. Stay safe, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, all the fans. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.